Mr. Martin, you good? Thank you.
That sounds like a plan.
Very nice. Thank you. Likewise.
I call to order the City Council meeting for May 8th, 2024. It's 5:32. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Campbell. Present. Councilman Leon. Here. Councilwoman Godaro. Councilwoman Julian.
Here.
Councilman Stevens. Here. Vice Mayor Wilson.
Here.
Mayor Harris.
I'm present.
For the record, we'll show that Councilwoman Godaro is present as well, too. You have a quorum, Mayor.
All right. Please stand for the invocation and pledge of allegiance.
God our Father, we thank you for your grace. We thank you for your mercy. We thank you for this opportunity to gather together as a community. As in this moment, God, we pray for your grace, your mercy to be bestowed upon us. Continue to open up the windows of heaven. God, in this moment, we ask a special prayer for all of our community members that are going through a season of bereavement. Wrap your arms around them and bring them comfort during this dark hour of their lives. Father, we pray your many blessings upon the city of Miami Gardens. Give us your knowledge, your wisdom, and your understanding. And in all things, we promise to give you all the praise, honor, and glory that your precious name deserves. It is in your son's name I do pray. Amen.
Amen.
Allegiance to
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we're on approval of minutes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I'm going to withdraw the minutes from today's agenda.
All right, show them withdrawn. We're on order of business. Are there any issues or any items that need to be added, deleted?
Mr. Mayor and Council, we do have two add-on items. We have add-on item number 1, which is sponsored by Councilman Robert Stevens III, which is supporting Page and Friends Helping Hands. Without objections, we ask that it be added to the consent agenda as item 11.4. The next one, we have add-on item number 2, which is sponsored by Councilman Robert Stevens, which is supporting North Dade Middle School's 8th grade prom. Without objections, we ask that it be added to the agenda as item 11.5. Also, Mayor and Council, while it's not a change to the agenda, I did email the council and there was an update to the agenda, to the iPad, to one of the exhibits for item 12.1.
Do we have something from the city manager's office as well? Oh, that's the one that you're adding in.
We just updated the term agreement to that item.
All right.
Are we done with the add-ons? I mean, I want to pull 11.1.
11.1,
Yes.
Campbell.
And I'd also like to pull item 12.1.
This-
12.1 is a resolution, so that'll be a
It'll
discussion.
be discussion, okay. On the agenda,
Motion.
been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Presentations. Item 6.1, legislative update by city lobbyist Yolanda C. Jackson.
You gonna do it? All right.
Good evening. Latoya Shields, Senior Government Relations Consultant with Becker. Nice to see everyone, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, and the County of Tallahassee, and advocating on behalf of the city. It's always a joy to work with you all and bring home $1.3 million.
All right.
One of the main projects was the Miami Garden. It's a $500,000 request. Right now, it is fully funded in the budget, as you know, well and intact. In addition to that, you have some SHIP dollars that are also coming down from the 2020 $205. So I think that is beneficial as it relates to affordable housing. So again, $1.3 million to have in the packet where we've kind of highlighted some general budget items as far as funds that Department of Children and Families, just different things that we like to let the city be aware of so that we can try and tap into those dollars in a different way. $117.46 billion for the entire state. So I think it is a strong testament to the advocacy that you guys have done to be able to get 500,000 of that, but still something is better than nothing. One of the things that we also want to highlight is some of the legislative, I'm not going to go through all of them, but some of the substantive bills that have been pressing topics that has been identified somewhat as the homeless encampment bill, where it is allowing those who are homeless through the Department of Children and Families first. And then there are city and county discussions that are related to that. If there are any dollars matched to that, so I just kind of want to put that on your radar because it may be something that will soon less. That is something that was very important, a topic of discussion. The vacation rentals bill is also one that has been got it through. And so with that being said, it has not been signed by the governor yet. It hasn't even been presented to the governor yet, but he still has until June 30th before he makes all those final decisions. That I think is important. I think those two things were definitely important. There was an affordable housing bill that they there, but a lot of different things that are affecting local cities, they all pushed through. Here, it just has not been submitted to him as of yet. So like I said, there was 2 talks of having a special, and as of yesterday, the governor has said no to that. So that would have discussed, or it would have talked about abortion, say marijuana, but yesterday he said no to that. So with that being said, we're going to leave that alone. As far as the budget is concerned, he has until June 30th to sign, and the budget will take effect July 1. And that was Tallahassee 2024.
Thank you, Toya.
Do you guys have any questions for me?
No.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
I don't have any questions. I just want to thank you all for the assistance when myself, I believe it, but the Vice Mayor and I, we traveled up to Tallahassee. The entire team worked diligently to help us to lobby on some of the issues that was important. It does my heart well to hear that we scored a home run. Well, we're in the final base before home run. Right, something like that. However you say it, as it relates to infrastructure improvement, Leslie Estates community is one that needs it more than anything. So I'm very, very excited about that, and it's my prayers that the governor does what's right. So thank you all so much for your work, and look forward to preparing for next year.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I kind of echo the same sentiments because every time we're in Tallahassee, you guys make sure that we see the people that we need to see in order for us to get our point across, so to speak. And the job that Becker and Polikoff does, you particularly, and Yolanda, we appreciate you guys, and we just want to say thank you for all the hard work that you have done throughout the years.
Absolutely.
And I echo the same sentiments as my colleagues, those cold Tallahassee winter days, going up there and advocating. They were not in vain. Thank you, to Yolanda and the entire team for making sure that our voices were heard. And I think we came out better this year than we did last year. And so we're super excited about that. And we look forward to continuing the advocacy in Tallahassee.
Awesome. It's always a pleasure to work with you guys. So thank you so much. Have a good one.
All right, we're now on to item 6.2, Mental Health Awareness Month honoree RUBAN Roberts. And this is sponsored by Councilwoman Linda Julian.
Thank you very much, sir.
You honoring someone?
Yes,
Okay.
I am a friend of this community, the South Florida community. Everyone loves him. I am honored to commend a friend of everyone in the South Florida community, Mr. RUBAN Roberts, for Mental Health Awareness Month, a remarkable advocate for mental health and wellness, especially within marginalized communities. With over 18 years of experience as a clinician and master trainer at the University of Miami's Brief Strategic Family Therapy Institute, RUBAN's expertise in this field is unparalleled. He has dedicated his career to serving underserved populations, founding RER Consulting Enterprise and Amplify Community Resources to address their mental health challenges through holistic programming. RUBAN's commitment to community empowerment is evident through his professional life that ultimately led to the development of evidence-based programs that promote culturally competent care. RUBAN's belief that everyone has a unique story and we are here to listen, understand, and support guides his mission to create pathways to wellness and empower individuals to thrive. His dedication has earned him recognition and awards throughout his journey. Beyond his professional achievements, RUBAN is a devoted family man and avid traveler. If you know anything about RUBAN, he is in the Bahamas every month and then out of the country maybe every other month. I live vicariously through you. His academic accomplishments, including earning a master's in social work and a master's in business administration, reflects his commitment to leadership and inspiration. In conclusion, RUBAN Roberts exemplifies dedication to fostering a compassionate and empowered society, a society that we all wish to live in. Please join me, Mayor, Council, in honoring his outstanding contributions to mental health awareness and community wellness for Mental Health Awareness Month. Please join me in the front for a photo.
All right, we're now on to public comments.
All right, could you read the back of the card, Mr. Clerk?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Any member of the public who wishes to submit Article 2, Section 2-60 of the City of Miami Gardens Code entitled Public Participation provides that any person making personal, irrelevant, impertinent, or slanderous remarks or becomes boisterous while addressing the City Council shall not be considered orderly or observing decorum. If any person becomes too lengthy, abusive, obscene, and/or disruptive, or otherwise fails to comply with decorum rules, the presiding officer may, 1, issue a warning and provide an opportunity for the individual to conclude remarks in a decorous manner and within the designated time limit. 2, interrupt and terminate the individual from concluding their remarks. 3, bar the individual from further appearance before the City Council unless or until permission to continue or again address the City Council is granted by a majority vote of the City Council. Order shall be maintained. If any person refuses to obey the orders of the presiding officer and is declared out of order, the individual may be subject to removal by the sergeant at arms.
And council governing ourselves accordingly as well. The first two people will be Ms. Gail Cunningham and Ms. Rhea Hughes.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Gail Cunningham, 19001 Northwest 14th Avenue Road, Miami Gardens, Florida, 33169. Going back to the old spiritual, may the work I've done speak for me. Beginning on May 22nd of this year, you'll start to see temporary non-commercial speech signs throughout our city, getting ready for the primary election on August the 20th. Please make sure that you know who's on the sign, why they're on the sign, what have they done in order to be deserving of being on the sign. And that's why I say, let the work I've done speak for me. Not only may it speak for me, but what am I doing now? Are you feeding my belly or are you feeding my mind? Are you feeding my physical opportunities to do things that I need to do? Or and not necessarily feeding me what I need to know about my voice and how it's being said here in the chambers is your first step to your voice. But once you vote, that doesn't mean that you're silenced. You're voting because you have someone in the places where you want to be in a voice and physically. So I ask you, I plead to you, please a part of being proactive, active, and reactive, because you have to react to what's going on. Your you and your voice. So if we become silent, we don't have a city. If our voices are not heard, we don't have a city. If you vote, research, vote, it determines who you are and who our city is. Thank you.
Ms. Dale.
Good evening. 180th Street, Miami Gardens, Florida, 33056. To the residents of the city of the candidates running for elections, and continue to stay focused on today's local officials of whom we elect to become able to understand different ideas or ways of thinking. For our minds are like parachutes. They only function when they're open. Remember, but action. Do your due diligence to attend candidates' forums. Find out who these candidates are. Tell you what they are going to do, what they plan or promise to do, or give you their falsehoods to-do list. Impacted residents in a positive way that warrants your vote. Again, pay attention. Diligence. And don't go for the okie dokie. Vote.
Thank you, Ms. Hughes.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Mayman Tisdall. I live at 17031 Northwest 4th Avenue. That music been going on for the last 2 years. This year, I called April the 27th. I called Miami Gardens 5 times. They finally got over there at 1 o'clock in the morning and shut the music off. They came May 3rd at 11:30. I always ask for a sergeant when I called over there. The sergeant, this is the first time a sergeant ever called me back. He said he gave him a citation. Then he came back Saturday night, May 4th, at 3 o'clock in the morning, the same music. And it escalated from 169th all the way over to where I stay at by the. I keep calling the police. Now, they said they gave him a citation. I don't know if they playing Monopoly. The weekend, you can't sleep. And I am fed up with it. So I don't know. They give him a fine, but they come back. So what the fine is, $5, $10, $25? Why they ain't going to jail? They go behind there, and that music escalate from over there, underneath the underpass, all the way over there where we stay at.
May I have someone speak with you? One of the police officers.
Okay,
speak
thank
with
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then Lennon Hernandez. Oh, excuse me. Hold on 1 second, Lenny. Was Joel
No,
here?
he's not here. That's one of my neighbors.
Okay.
My name is Lenny Hernandez. I live in 18400 Northwest 22nd Avenue. I grew up in Wynwood. Coming to this neighborhood since 1997. I bought my house in 2007 in Miami Gardens. Now, from the ghetto, it become a third world country. You know what's going on. All of you know what's going on. All these new owners that they've been coming to this neighborhood, they've been destroying all these houses. They've been building a bunch of apartments on the side, putting RV trailers. We call the co-enforcement. You guys not doing nothing. The co-enforcement, they tell you, if I can't see, I can't do nothing. You got those RVs sticking out with the wings out, ready to go, and they can't see nothing. Where you guys getting all this co-enforcement? They blind or something? So please, my brothers and sisters over here, they from Miami Gardens. You guys pushing everybody out of the neighborhood. Because my people, they don't care. They have a third world mentality. Do something about it. I'm tired. The house across the street from my house, 18401. I was going to buy the house for $150,000 in 2011. The house is a 3.2. I know the footprint of that house. Now it's a 4.3. What's going on, guys? I only see one color over here. My brothers and sisters, don't blame the white people. It's everybody's over here. Do something about it.
Lenny, let me have you speak with our code enforcement director because
they destroying all these yards on the side.
Hold on. We do have some things in place, so we're gonna have our code enforcement officer director talk with you, okay?
Thank you.
All right. Nancy Smith.
Good evening. My name is Nancy Smith. I live at 4450 Northwest 169th Terrace in Miami Gardens, Florida. I'm here on a note that's been placed on the house at 4530 Northwest 169th Terrace that I own, that I inherited from my mom. It was a note placed on the house for unsafe structure. We came here before and got the okay, and everything was signed for us to go ahead with the process of fixing the house. And now they're putting a notice on the house for unsafe structure, and I want to know why.
Okay. Code enforcement director, I'm gonna have her speak with you too, okay? Or have Ozzy talk with her. Ozzy, you here? Okay. Ozzy.
I talked to Ozzy before. It was one place on here, and I went to the court for Miami-Dade concerning this house, and now we're here again.
Thank you. Any other written communication, Mr. Clerk, or any other?
No written communications received, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Any other public comments? I have no more public comments cards. Show public comments closed.
All right, there are no ordinances on for first reading, no ordinances on for second reading and public hearing, no resolutions for public hearing. Consent agenda, item 11.2, a resolution of the City Council, City of Miami Gardens, Florida, awarding request for qualifications RFQ number 23-24-014, preparation of resilience plans for the City of Miami Gardens to Chen Moore and Associates, authorize the city manager to negotiate and execute a contract for this purpose, authorize the city manager to proceed with negotiations and contract with Kimberly Horn and Associates, Inc. if negotiations with Chen Moore and Associates are not successful, providing for adoption representation, providing for an effective date, and this is sponsored by the city manager. Hold on. Okay, item 11.3, a resolution of the City Council, City of Miami Gardens, Florida, authorizing the city manager and city clerk to execute and attest respectively that certain interlocal between Miami-Dade County and the City of Miami Gardens relating to grants from Building Better Communities General Obligation Bond Program, project number 320 Economic Development Fund, in an amount up to $7.5 million, a copy of which is attached here to is Exhibit A, providing for instructions to the city clerk, providing for adoption representation, providing for an effective date, and this is sponsored by the city manager. And now we're on to item 11.4, resolution of the City Council, City of Miami Gardens, Florida, allocating funds for Councilman Stevens' community benefit account in an amount not to exceed $3,000 in support of Page and Friends Helping Hands, Inc., providing for adoption representation, providing for an effective date, and this is sponsored by Councilman Robert Stevens III. Item 11.5, a resolution of the City Council, City of Miami Gardens, Florida, waiving rental fees and service charges for the use of the Senior Family Center and paying associated staffing costs from the Seat 6 Public Affairs Special Events account in support of North Dade Middle School's 8th grade prom, providing for adoption representation, providing for an effective date, and this is sponsored by Councilman Robert Stevens III, and that is your consent agenda.
I need a motion on the consent agenda.
Motion.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Showing none. Show the consent agenda passes. We're on resolutions.
All right, we're now on to item 11.1, a resolution of the City Council, City of Miami Gardens, Florida, amending the protocol manual attached here to is Exhibit A, providing for adoption representation, providing for an effective date, and this is sponsored by Councilwoman Linda Julian.
This item was pulled by Councilwoman Campbell.
You ready?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to, I have maybe two questions on this item. I like the item, I do, but my question may be for maybe the clerk or the attorney, because as I read it, it's asking for an amendment or an adjustment to the protocol manual that we already have in place. But there are a lot of items or questions in the protocol manual that need to be updated or adjusted. So is there a way that us as a council can receive a hard copy of the protocol manual and maybe each one of us look at it and then maybe make some suggestions to the clerk or whoever puts the manual together? Because there are other items in the protocol manual that do need to be updated.
Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead, Mr. Clerk.
Councilwoman Campbell, yes, I can make sure that the protocol manual is forwarded to the council. Any recommended changes by any council member, it could be submitted to my office either through the legislative analyst or to me directly. I'm pretty sure you can submit your changes to the city attorney and city manager as well, and we'll work together to bring those items sponsored by the council for amendment to that protocol manual.
Okay, thank you. That was it.
All right. Need a motion on the item?
Motion.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Showing none. Show the item passes.
All right, we're now on to resolutions. Item 12.1, resolution of the City Council, City of Miami Gardens, Florida, authorizing the city manager to negotiate a ground lease The property generally located at 2775 Northwest 183rd Street, Miami Gardens, Florida 33056, in accordance with the term sheet attached hereto in substantial form as Exhibit A, provided for adoption representation, providing for effective date, and this is sponsored by the city manager.
Mr. Manager?
Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members, this item is before you in regards to the potential development of the 5-acre site located on 183rd near 27th Avenue by the U-Haul area. Mr. Mayor, if you don't mind, I'd like to at least start off with Mr. Clay, the Deputy City Manager, on a brief presentation. And then Mr. Holland, who's with the group, they have a presentation to do as well. That may include some video. So if just give us a couple of minutes to set up, and then we can move forward with that. But notwithstanding, let me ask the deputy to go ahead and give a brief overview of the proposed project in front of you, and then I'll turn it over to Mr. Holland.
All right, Mr.
Thank you.
Mr. Clay.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council. Today, as the manager said before you, is a project to develop the vacant land we've colloquially called the 5 Northwest 183rd Street. What is being proposed is a development project of approximately 500 units, 1s, 2s, and 3-bedroom units. Phase 1, approximately 278 units to include parking. Phase 2 will consist of the balance of the units being built, about 230 units, and a parking garage designated as workforce housing, which has been something that we have tried to focus on in all of the new developments that are coming to the city. Of slides, I guess, and it seems like a number of easels with a lot of nice pictures to share with you. So with that,
good evening, Honorable Board. Robert Holland with offices at 3250 Northeast 1st Avenue, Miami, Florida. Most of you all know we were here probably a little over a year ago. There were 3 folk looking at possibly developing the properties across the street. We've been negotiating with the city. And I will tell you, I think what we have for you today, you'll be very, very proud of. Lord knows we have, as most of you all know, and sometimes the residents don't know, Miami Gardens is the large meeting with Atlanta, Maryland, Houston, even DC, sometimes for African-American professionals to live here. Workforce housing. Everybody does a lot of affordable housing. How do we try to find a way to bring African-American professionals back into this city? Florida, off of 27th Avenue, where people can live, work, and play. And so Redwood has come up with a development. I'll put him up and ask him some questions for your benefit. But what we're looking at and waiting on the presentation. Okay. And so the name is not etched in stone. We have it as Residences on Miami Gardens Drive. Obviously, we'd like to work with the city to be able to have some participation in the naming of that. As the manager mentioned, the unit types, as we mentioned, range between studios to 3 bedrooms. 3 bedrooms being a very small amount, and 12 surface spaces available in the first phase, and 1,500 square feet of retail and restaurant space. All the restaurant and retail space will be off of 183rd Street, so they have the visibility of the traffic going in and out or up and down the roads. Ability along 27th Avenue, 183rd Street for folk to be able to come in and out of. Phase 2, which would be the same shape building, just the opposite direction now, is approximately 242 units. Bedrooms, but this also, the second phase will not only be that building, but a parking garage now will get built in the middle. What people don't understand about some concrete and curbs, parking spaces, in order to build a parking garage, run you about $30,000 a space. But also there'll be some additional uses maybe that the city may have with their vehicles sometimes to still be able to park vehicles over on that site as you go. We're trying to look at it long term. How do we make sure we absorb some of the things that the city is doing going forward? summary. So when you look at this, we're not looking at trying to, when the apartments and all that we're talking about doing, you add some glamour to your downtown that people can come in here when they visit and travel. So, you know what? I like this city. I like what's going on. You can be working with the city to kind of help pre-market this in other places, starting first within the city, and then the professionals in Miami, and then abroad. A week or two ago on something else, how I was having a dinner with some gentlemen one from D.C. and the other was from Atlanta. And they both have places here. These are African-American professionals. And they were talking about some of the other friends they have. And everybody's living on Brickell. They come here, they rent these places or buy these places on Brickell when they're looking for a second place. And we need to try to find how do we bring them into this city to add that mental capacity to some of the things that we're doing to be able to create greater opportunities for young kids that are going to college. They now have a reason to want to come back and not have the brain drain that we've come used to over the course of years. Now we have a way of drawing people back. And so Redwood didn't want to cut any corners. And so they went and hired Kobe Karp. And if you guys know Kobe Karp is world renowned for architecture. He doesn't go and do the little mom and pop dumb stuff. He comes in because he wants to put a legacy in place. And so Kobe was hired to do the design on this facility. And when he walks you through some of this here, I think you'll be very, very impressed with what you have that we've negotiated out so far. And then I'll get into the terms of the deal so we have at least a good understanding of that. So I'll let Kobe kind of talk about the design features, and I'll come back and talk about the terms.
Hi, good evening. I'll be brief. What we did is my name is Kobe Karp, 571 Northwest 28th Street, Miami, Florida. We have had the pleasure of working on this site now for the past, almost a year, and closely with your staff. By the way, your staff has been phenomenal to work with, very knowledgeable, very helpful. They gave us some incredible ideas because when we walked the site, we saw the relationship to the water, the opportunity that we can create for the pedestrian movement along the water. You can see on top of the page there, that's the blue. And what we created is we created a Vita park, linear park exercise all the way around the whole site. So the residents who live here, and if they want to walk in the morning or with their friends or their family along the whole site, they can walk and get their steps in and get the exercise in. We have, as you can see also on the screen right there, let me see if I can figure this out. This is the pool and amenity area. That's the clubhouse area. We have the pools which are set within the garden inside. And then you can see in the green and the off green is our retail commercial area to the south. We have a two-phase development. This would be the first phase with approximately 274 apartments. And what has mentioned, this is the entry, if you will, to the residences with the retail commercial at the ground level. And we are also creating an opportunity and you can see it here, is to drive all the way around the property, open to the public and accessible with pedestrian movement all the way around. So if you are able, there's my little arrow, thank you. Right here between the landscaping, you're able to have your Vita exercise park all the way around. You can see the path. And that allows for green, sustainable, and resilient design that is also not only LEED environmentally friendly, because that's nice to have, but it also saves us money. By doing a project that is more LEED and sustainable, we're able to save money on the maintenance and the overhead costs going forward. That is the thought process in this project. You can see here in the amenity area, like was mentioned, we are doing a project that has basically a market rate luxury residences. We feel that this area is very important. We have 3 bedrooms, we have retail, we have indoor facilities, outdoor facilities. You can see our leasing offices and our amenities open up to the pool area. Because what happens is that as the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, and God willing will continue to do so in perpetuity, we get nice natural light on the inside of the courtyards. And that allowed us to really create beautiful spaces from the apartments, both to the inside and to the surrounding area. So with that, I'll be quiet. Thank you so much for your time, and I'm here if you have any questions or suggestions. Thank you.
If you look at the amenity areas, this is, if you look at phase one, and you look at the pool area here, the gym above that, the greenery all on the walls, it gives you a very majestic feel when you come to this property that hopefully people will say, wow, this is something we've never seen in this city. And we're hoping to create that wow factor because we think that's what the city deserves, a wow factor when you come in. The retail will be a combination of things working with the city as well as retail, restaurants or whatever on the bottom floor of that to try to create, again, that walkability where people can walk from Games or whatever along 183rd Street. Now they have different places they can stop in and do. Originally, if you remember, we were talking about trying to do a jazz lounge or something on the second floor and a cigar bar on the top with an Airbnb in the building. And the city thought that might not be what you wanted to do. So that's why this was changed quite a bit to accommodate and make it more luxury living than what it was before. And from a standpoint of the cost, obviously you guys have an ordinance in place where most cities you go to, you have a way to kind of work some things out with the city. You guys have something that requires that you have to pay full value for the land. So the land has been appraised at $7 million. We're paying $7 million plus. In fact, the way it's being structured for purposes of getting into this here, when I say getting in, if we were to do this with affordable housing or workforce housing, you can buy the property outright and develop it because you have these other little, what they call gap subsidies to kind of help you do this. When you're doing a first of a kind in a community, and this would be a first of a kind in this community, professional housing, it's kind of like saying, I want to build a Morton Steakhouse in the community. Can you get financing? Oh, I don't know. We've never done that. So banks kind of run. And so when we came up with an option with the manager, initially it was kind of talking about maybe the city being in the deal, and it got a little complicated. So we say, well, we would be willing to lease it on a 50-year term with a 50-year option. We would pay $2 million up front, which pays off the land. You still own the land. While we develop first phase, you still own the land. So if anything goes wrong, guess what? You still own the land. If that building is built and we default, you now own the building. That's another asset. So again, you are fully protected in this deal, way beyond what even a bank would probably be protected. And after the first building is built, we will come back in and finish the closing out of everything. And that would end up being above the $7 million. It is the best way of doing it because no one can come in and pay the $7 million up front and develop this. You can come in and pay the $7 million up front and do workforce housing or affordable housing. You can't do it with a first-time model. The first-time model runs into some headaches when you first do it. But when you were putting the land in for the first few years, that gives the bank some comfort in the financing. And so I want to bring up here the Executive Vice President of City National Bank, if I can bring Mr. Damien up, Chris Damien. And I'm doing this because I want to swear him in because I want certain things on the record because I don't want there to be any concern. Chris has been to several of the meetings with us. Chris, if you can, give us your full name, please.
Christopher Damien. I'm an Executive Vice President at City National Bank. I live at 450 Gerona Avenue, Coral Gables, 33146.
Do you swear to tell the truth and the whole truth? Tell me the truth.
I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth.
All right. How long have you been with City National Bank?
9 years with City National.
And what roles have you had there?
I've been in charge of private banking. I've been in charge of mortgage banking, and now I'm in charge of development for City National Bank, Chief Development Officer.
How long have you been in the banking industry?
I've been in the banking industry 37 years. In fact, I started my career on 183rd and 441 at the NCNB office down the street.
Are you familiar with Redwood Development?
Yes, it's been a client of City National Banks for the last 7 years.
How much cash do they have in the bank, cash on hand?
Through their affiliated companies and personal accounts, over $30 million.
So would you have an interest in financing this deal, this development deal as a developer?
I think City National would have an extreme interest, which is part of the reason I am here to show my support for it. And I think every bank is going to be trying to do this deal because it's a growing community, and the city, the community, South Florida as a whole, needs projects like this. And I think every single bank in town will be trying to find a way to look at this deal.
Have you ever financed a deal for Redwood Development before?
Yes, right down the street in North and in Opelika, and we're looking at another one. So we've had substantial success from construction, land acquisition to construction to completion.
Have you ever had any issues with failure to pay? Have they ever defaulted on a project?
Never.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
So the developer not having the money, the money's there. It's how you structure a deal is what makes the deal work. And for those who understand, really will give you subsidies, you get tax credits, all those things kind of help you lower your borrowing costs. Right now with the mortgage rate, knowing that we would never get to that point. Once phase one is built, then the rest of the money will be paid in. And each year, and interest payments during that time. And so at no point is the city in jeopardy. We again take your current debt off the book, so you don't have to worry about paying that debt service. And so in the end, the city's in a win-win position. And now you get something that no one else has. American-dominated cities, the young ones that are still coming up trying to get to Miami Garden status, they don't have a place right now where they have this professional housing. So this would be, once that first goes in, people say, oh, there's a market there. And then others start to look at how do we get into this developments that are going on in your city. For years, we couldn't get things up here. I remember fighting, I forget how long this building has been here, somebody. Nobody wanted to pay for the building of City Hall because of the interest rates. And I said, look here, I have a guy, but you have to do it before December 31st. It was Obama's last bond thing out there, and it allowed you to borrow money for the 31st, it would have gone up. And so financing is very particular when you do these things with interest rates. You have to know when to move on things. We're ready to move. We can get a shovel in the ground within 18 months to have this thing up and going. Obviously, you had to go through the permitting and all the stuff with the city, but we're ready to go, and we've been ready to go, and financially we have the ability to do it. We just hope you will embrace the concept that the manager and those have looked trying to create this downtown corridor with some professional housing in this community to make sure that we have something to brag about as we come and live, work, and play in this community. With that, I'm open to any questions that you guys may have.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. It's open for discussion. Vice Mayor, you?
My issue with this is it's not enough time. It's a lot to digest right now in a meeting that has to go with the city manager, and because that's what it says here, is that you guys are asking us to, is that what we're asking? That's what we're being asked to do? I don't know who the
What we're asking for you to do tonight is to approve the term sheet. Once that is approved, then we would go in over.
that is listed here is the amount of money that we would receive based on what lease? Is that the terms, like you got 200,000 and then 170,000 would be the last payment if this agreement is that, are those the terms that we're interested in negotiating?
Yes, that's where we are right now as far as the term sheet. We will sit back down with them and to negotiate a development agreement for to move forward with the development of the site.
Okay. Or so?
According to Mr. Holland,
Or
if moving forward, it's about 18 months.
18 months. Yes. And is there any interest, things go on in perpetuity and the land sits there and there's no development?
Anything is even done on the land. But now you have $2 million for the land. Once we get a construction loan and all that stuff, which is probably within 12 months, less than 12 months, we'll start developing phase one. During that time, you get $50,000 a year for the first 3 years because you got the $2 million up front. After that, it goes to $170,000 a year in rent payments to your interest payments, however you want to look at it, until we pay off the balance of the $5 million. At no point does the money in the middle that you're making go towards the $7 million. So everything in the middle, let's say we close it in 5 years, everything you would have made in the middle, the 50, 50, 170, and 170, that would be on top of your $7 million. So you would never make less than the $7 million. You always make more than the $7 million. But the incentive is for them to be able to go ahead and buy the total property out before the 5-year period. So at all points, you never get less than your appraised value on the land. In the interim, once the building is built, now you have a multi-million-dollar structure on there that goes to your tax bases now, that you get ad valorem taxes on now. So that goes to your tax base as well. So you're not only getting the sales price, but the longer it sits there, it doesn't go into your tax base. So now it gets onto your tax base with a world-class kind of project. So that tax base on that ends up being much higher than some of the affordable housing projects and all that you do. I guess so. It could be 5 years from now, right? And we would get less than $200,000 a year on this project if it's not finished? If you put the $7 million in the bank, let's say you had the $7 million up front to put in the bank, you'd probably make less than that a year on the bank. And if you don't do anything with the land, then there's nothing coming to the land and you still have the carrying cost. But remember, you're also removing your borrowing costs that you have on the debt on the land now because you're paying that off. But we still own it. You still own it during this process, even as the lease is there. You still technically own the land. But we can't do anything with it because technically it's almost in use. Well, I guess my whole point is this: it's one or the other, right? It's like we take a look at this, and I don't know if it is ever been said, but I'll say it now. I'm not really all about selling the land of the city. That's not something that I'm a proponent of. I just don't necessarily believe that that's the right way to do it. But this council has made the decision, and I think I probably wasn't a proponent of it, that this would be a great development, right? And I respect cohesively what we think and feel. But I think that this is a beautiful project. I really do. These renderings are very impressive. I hate to do it, but I think it's just a beautiful project. I just look at it and I think, where's the housing for our community? I just wonder where these people are going to live that live here. Where are our children going to come back to? They can't afford that. Well, I understand. I'm expressing myself. And so as I'm considering this beauty, right? Mm-hmm. I am considering it with the reality of people coming from other places living here, but the people living here can't live. So with 10% of this, that's 50 residences. Just 50 of the 500. And with the workforce houses, like our police officers, where'd they go? Where do our Parks and Rec people live? They work a lot here, and they got to drive a long way somewhere else. So I live here, and I'm very concerned about the people here. And I'm concerned about the world because nobody can afford nowhere to live. And one of our residents was just saying a moment ago that they're cutting up the houses to try to have a roof over their head. So for me, Mr. Manager, the challenge here for me is to be able to find a way that if this project goes forward, if it's determined to get into a negotiation, that this negotiation comes back to us for approval, right? For me. And that we take a very hard look at whether or not this really moves us to where we're going forward in our strategic plan. Like,
You know, if we're gonna, you know, our live, work, and play, well, nobody can live here. At least not the people that's here now. So, this leasing deal doesn't seem valuable. To give up a $7 million piece of land for a couple of hundred. I don't, you know, and I will say that I don't often know the banking terms. And you guys over there on that side, you're experts in it. But it doesn't seem to balance at this juncture. And so I would definitely be open to listening a little bit more, Mr. Holland, to get a better understanding of what I might be missing now. But from a very elementary standpoint, this amount doesn't sit well with me.
Can I possibly help explain maybe some of that? When you look at affordable housing and workforce housing, in order for that to get done, a municipality, in some places the county serves as a municipality for the unincorporated areas. They take money out of their coffers to give to developers as subsidies or give them land free of charge to bring down the price of housing. Because the price is what it is. You buy it, the construction materials, all that stuff, you build it. You have to spread that out over a mortgage payment and you pay it. And you have to kind of get the number of bodies in their rooms to kind of pay that mortgage. That's a very simple thing. It happens even in your house. But the only way you get those costs down is by the government either saying, hey, because we think we have a responsibility to kind of help those who can't live, maybe we'll give the land to someone and the value of that land will help us bring down the cost of the deal to spread that out onto folk for a period of time. If you don't want to bring the value down, you don't want to put the land in the deal, people at that point, it's just free market prevails. And the market is what the market is. The other issue you have is you guys have a charrette that you did in this area that talked about creating this downtown. The best time to create it with land that you have is when you're not in a crushed situation to have to sell it, because then you can't make the right decisions. When you have to live, you know something, this will help us get to where we want to be with creating the downtown versus waiting 10 years later and all of a sudden we have some other issues that came up. We have to sell it and we can't demand that they do these other things because we have to sell it.
See, not, Ms. Holland, hold on 1 second. Go ahead, Mr. Manager.
I'm going to clarify one. I'm going to have the deputy clarify the other one. To the vice mayor, I just want to make sure the vice mayor and the council members know that I can't do this project unless I bring back a development agreement. That development agreement has to go through 2 readings. It will be done by ordinance, so 2 readings as an ordinance. I just want to clarify that because I want everybody to understand that we have to bring this back to council for approval. Clarify some things regarding that.
Vice Mayor, I wanted to, what we were doing with the lease terms and what the economic benefit is to the city. You mentioned, but that's definitely not what it is. So the total lease payment could, which is significantly more than what the property is appraised at now. The deposit, as Mr. Holland pointed out, there would be another $1.8 million upon stabilized, which essentially means once it's fully leased up, they would then go and pay the rent that annual basis, and it also has an escalator in it. So there's a % increase each year of the lease term, which is $7 million. So I wanted to clarify that before Mr. Allen went any further. I know he was talking about.
You know, one of the difficulties I'm having is so many of these questions that I have, I didn't get a chance to really have a of this, which makes me uncomfortable at this juncture, trying to do, and which is why I pulled it, because I did not want to have a discussion on it until I actually had an opportunity to comb through this and get the kind of clarity that I'm comfortable with before I am able to say, let's roll with it. And even now, digest it properly. And I'm going to have to ask for some advice about.
Go ahead, Councilman Leon.
No, the city manager just went ahead and clarified my question, what I was about. Not only people moving in from out of town, but these are for our local residents who inspired to be someplace, that are graduating from St. Thomas with law degrees, Florida Memorial, but this type of housing in their new professions, we're not limited to the 10%. Correct.
On the workforce housing?
On the workforce housing, but it's open to everybody. We're just not limited to the 10%.
Upscale things in this.
As long as they can afford it.
As long as they can afford it, yeah, as long as they can afford it.
That's correct. Correct.
Yeah.
Thank you.
As I sat to hear the presentation and the remarks made by my colleague, I want it to be clear, and I want to hear that I want the project to be developed. That's the phases for this project, and don't understand why we can't why can't it be completed in the first phase. This is necessary. I'm going to support this item knowing that it has to come back to us for a first where I stand as it relates to why we have to take this leasing process and the time frame. I am not a big supporter of kicking the can down the street. And when you talk about 5 to 6 to 7 to 8 years from now, from a 4.5 acre project, that worries me. However, I'm going to have faith. I'm going to have faith that this project will be developed in time. In an 18 months or within the 18-month period, we'll see something. But I definitely have that as a concern. So for tonight, for the purpose of the item that's on the agenda tonight, I'll support it. But I look forward to further conversation, Mr. Manager, as it relates to moving forward with the first and second hearing that has to come back before my colleagues and I.
Councilwoman Julie.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for being here this evening. The project looks amazing. I love the renderings. I love the concept about it. But for me, dealing with public land is to have the highest and best use. And just going through the term sheet, 10% workforce housing is just not enough. Like, I feel like it needs to be much, much higher than that when it comes to this project. In addition to that, it seems that there is some, or could be some hesitation in terms of perhaps many things involved with this project. So my question is, can we defer this perhaps maybe to the next meeting so that those of us who want to have a little bit more of an understanding can do that?
Mr. Manager.
Mr. Mayor, Councilwoman, that's a question for council if you want to defer to the next meeting. Now, I would like the council to know that I will not be here at the next meeting. I have some other commitments for the next meeting. So then
Are there any period of time that we have to have a decision on this in order for it to move forward as far as the two additional hearings are concerned?
No, let me say this. If you approve it, I'm going to use Councilwoman Julian's suggestion. If you approve it at the next meeting, which is May 22nd, then I would hope to have the ability to negotiate a development agreement and bring that back before we break for summer. So then you're looking at July to bring something back. And remember, it's got to be 2 readings. So maybe it's the first meeting in July and the second meeting in July, and then that's it. If that's the route we go. If you pass tonight, and I've heard all your comments and concerns, and we're able to address those comments and concerns within the proposed development agreement that we would bring back to you, then potentially I could have that in front of you sometime in June for first and second reading, moving forward from there. But if it's the council's pleasure, if they want to defer, I'm ready to move in whatever direction you would like to move in regards to deferment and or moving forward in regards to negotiating an agreement.
Go ahead.
I just want to suggest that because there's a lot of answers and there's a lot of questions and concerns around the project and just development overall, should we defer the item, I would also like to suggest to my colleagues that we have a workshop around this development overall so that we can be very clear as to what is expected moving forward.
All right, so now, where are we? We had you making a motion to defer, or are
I'm
you
making a
asking
motion to
for-
defer the item, but before we move forward with that, just another question. I know when you guys came last year, it was Legacy Development Alliance LLC, and today it's Redwood. The name of
Redwood Legacy. It's
Redwood Legacy. Okay, so it's still the same company? Same company that came
They're a
before
piece
us
of it,
last
yes.
year?
They're still a part of it, small part of it.
Okay, so it's 2 companies doing
It was a
it?
joint venture.
It's a joint venture, okay. I make a motion to defer the item.
Second.
So it's been moved and seconded. We want to have a roll call, or
Excuse me,
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's a motion to
to what date? Yeah, I'm sorry. To what date?
The next city council meeting, there's no need to defer this for a
So
long
to the
time.
May
but just to
22nd
get
meeting?
more- Yes, just to
Okay.
get a little bit more clarity.
All right.
But during that time, are you requesting that we have some type of workshop
I am.
during that time?
Yes, within the time, within
the 2-week
the
period.
2-week period that we have a workshop.
Okay. So you're going to move it to defer to the May 22nd meeting?
Yes.
And in between that time, we'll have a workshop prior to May 22nd?
So that'll have to be like next week.
That'll have to be next week. That's fine.
Mario worked to coordinating that.
All right, I have the motion been moved and seconded. Do we need to go do a roll call, or we could do?
You could do a voice vote, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, may I just ask one question?
Yes.
Before we move forward. Is that workshop going to be with council and the applicant as well?
I would say yes.
Okay, thank you.
And also what would be helpful for me is that this can be printed and have in front of us, because I can't see it up here. And so it'll give me a better opportunity, even if I had it a day before, so that if I have any questions, I could either get them asked and answered before the meeting.
All right, so by voice, all in favor for deferring this until the 22nd of May, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Showing none, show it deferred until the 22nd with a workshop sometime next week.
All right, Mr. Mayor, Council, there are no quasi-judicial zoning hearing items. We're now on to the reports of the city manager, city attorney, and city clerk.
I lost my
Mr. Manager?
You want me to wait till that goes up?
All right, we'll wait.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
All right, Mr. Manager.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. I have a couple of announcements. First, I want to take this opportunity to thank anyone and everyone from staff that had anything to do with Formula One. I want to really recognize staff for the hard work that they put into it, especially our police department. So I do want to recognize the police department. I know Code was involved. I know a number of people were involved with Formula One. So I just want to take this opportunity and thank everybody for their efforts regarding that, especially Sergeant Levine. I know he's not here, but please pass that along to him. And then 3 more announcements. I want to wish a happy Mother's Day to all the mothers this coming Sunday. So all of us men, we have to spend money. I want to wish my wife a happy birthday on Mother's Day, so I have to spend money twice. Then recognize the fact that I just celebrated my 29th anniversary with my wife. That cost me more money. So I just wanted to say thank you. And again, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers.
Happy anniversary to you and happy birthday to Dee.
Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. Also, May 10th is my oldest son, Christian Batard's birthday, so happy birthday to him.
Happy birthday to everybody.
Wasn't the city clerk's week this week? Mayor, I don't know if the mayor and council members know, city clerk, and all the universe, Mario Batard.
In all the universe.
There's.
Oh.
But let me wish Mr. Benson, city, for between you and I. But happy anniversary and happy birthday to Dee. Just a beautiful many more years together and live for a very long time. Mr. Clerk, we appreciate you. Happy.
He's hiding underneath that, behind that television or whatever.
But I just wanted to state, because I wasn't at 5 residents graduate from Miami-Dade College with their business specialist certificate, and we were able to do that. Our city university partnership with Miami-Dade. One of our code enforcement supervisors, Mr. Cedric, was one of those individuals who made it through. So I just wanted to congratulate the overall class. That really made my heart smile. Myself and our Director of Education Development, Mr. Sherman Gant, was able to attend the graduation and witness that historic moment, because that was our first graduating class. Registration enrollment is already undergo for our summer courses that we're offering. So if you enhancing or advancing, I highly recommend you to visit our City University's webpage. I also want to acknowledge we had a great at 6:30 p.m. at our local Starbucks. Great casual conversation. Hurricane preparedness giveaway that myself, Vice Mayor Wilson, and Councilman Leon, we joined together to be able to pour back into the community on June 1st. So I encourage you all to come out. That would take place at Betty T. Ferguson, as well as next cooking demo at the Senior Center. Come out and have a good time. Come out and have a good time. Though it's located at the Senior Center, it's not just for always. May God bless and keep you as my prayers. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That ends my report.
I thought you said you left.
I was very pleased to host the very first strategic planning meeting, and our residents were able to give their input. On Saturday, May 25th, I will be hosting the special games at Bunch Park. Please pass on that, Mr. C. Vernon Martin, my aide, at extension 278. This is always Mother's Day, and to all of our residents of C3, I am honored to be your councilwoman, and I look forward to serving you. That ends my.
Looking out into the audience, I see some of the participants and the parents of our students who please stand up to be recognized. Thank you for joining us at the council meeting this evening. We've had a really, really good first cohort. During spring break, we were able to take our participants over to Mount Sinai Hospital, where they got to explore career opportunities in healthcare. They got to meet and sit down with the CEO. They got to pick his brain. They even got his personal cell phone number. You guys are winning. And we also had a chance to take them to the Miami-Dade seaport and to expose them to a number of career options that are out there. And so thank you for joining us at council meeting this evening. And I will see you all on Saturday for our next session. On Thursday, May 16th, we are having our trap yoga at Betty T. Ferguson. We had a really great turnout for the first one. And so we're looking forward to the second one. And it is taking place at 6 p.m., Betty T. Make sure you are there. And if you have any questions, please see my legislative analyst, Nicole. And it is that time of year where, we celebrate all cultures in the city of Miami Gardens. It is Haitian Heritage Month. Happy Haitian Heritage Month. We had a great opening reception last week. Thank you to everyone who participated. Colleagues, it was great to celebrate with you all. Thank you all for being there. Had delicious Haitian food, great music, the whole bit. And with everything that we do, there's always an education component to it. And so we have our Haitian Heritage Essay Contest that is taking place. The deadline is May 15th. Please have your students who live in Miami Gardens or attend schools in Miami Gardens to participate. And lastly, I just want to address something that just really did not sit well with me. In a respectful manner, of course. Earlier, the gentleman who spoke during public comment addressed our city as, and I quote, the ghetto or third world country. And I just want to say that our city is not the ghetto, and our city is not a third world country. Our city, while not perfect, is a thriving community where 113,000 of us call it home. It's where we are raising our families. That's what Miami Gardens is. Our city is a world-class city. Developers are coming here to build. We saw that tonight. Students are moving here from other states to attend St. Thomas and Florida Memorial. Miami Gardens is a sanctuary for those who call it home. And while we are not perfect, no city is. And there is a way to address challenges amicably. And so if you have a complaint, if you have a dissatisfaction about something, call us, 622-8000. Somebody's going to answer the phone. You have 7 council people up here. Send an email. The city manager, he'll be more than happy to have a conversation with you. But let's never put down the place that we call home, because we all have to live here and we should respect it. And if we expect other people to respect our city, it has to start with us. We have to respect our city. And that's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Campbell?
Yes. Mr. Mayor, first, I want to thank all those that made Seniors Cooking with Love a success. The seniors had a great time. Ms. Lindsay, I caught you having a great time with the beach ball, but I'm glad you enjoyed yourself at the event. And I want to announce that my wraps, salad, and smoothies. So come on now, you want to get healthy. We'll be at the Tropical Cafe on 194th and 27th Avenue, just a couple of doors down from the Starbucks. We'll be there this Friday, 5 to 7, for Miami Gardens residents while supplies last. ID is required, but come on out, let's get healthy. Also, the mayor and I, we have the Baja's reunion coming up June 9th, where we're celebrating Black Music Month. You can visit bajasforlife.com. That's BAHAS, the number 4, and LYFE.com. Check it out. All the information is on the website. Super excited about that one. Also, bingo every Tuesday, well, second Tuesday of the month. Let me stand corrected. The next one is May 14th, 4:30 at Buccaneer Park. Come on out, have some fun, because that's what we do. And then also, my Zoom town hall will be the third Tuesday of the month, which will be May 21st at 6:30. I believe the Mosaic group is going to come out. We're trying to get the surveys completed, and we're going to share some valuable information. And then I have some other very valuable information. Tune in. It is still a Zoom, and that way you can hear the information for yourself. And lastly, happy Mother's Day to all you mothers. I'm a mother, so I already told my son I just want a day of peace and quiet. And that ends my report.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Vice Mayor.
I have a point of order. If you guys could help me with this. I thought that we had a conversation up here about what the order of business is supposed to be. At some point, did we not discuss that reports were either going to be given early and public comments were going to be at the end, or whether or not we were obligating people to stay through the comments?
No, we took that item off the agenda.
Oh, okay. So may I, at this stage, ask the clerk to add that to the agenda for conversation, for discussion next time around? That's for the record. Two, for the record, public comments by the public, I don't have a problem with it. I do have a problem when people come in here and make campaign speeches and other speeches to the audience and not address this council. That is not necessarily public comment that has to do with the business of this dais. And I think that we need to be clear when the public comes forth and they are not operating within the context of what public comments in this arena are supposed to be about. Because I can foresee that this is steadily getting worse and worse and worse. And I don't want to see the decorum of our meetings continuously be compromised by grandstanding, which is what I see steadily rising. So I would like for either the clerk or someone to give me some type of parameters. And I know that we have some in terms of the overall decorum, but then what do we do to stop it? If we have it, then how do we police it? Because continuously it's getting out, it's getting further and further away from not what I believe, but what I know is the value of this council. Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. So I think that needs to be addressed in some way. We could talk about it publicly here, or we can have a workshop regarding the same for our public, because it appears to me, I've already said what it appears to me.
I think Mr. Clerk could sit down with you and discuss the rules of decorum and freedom of speech as well, right, Mr. Clerk?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, that she brought and work with her on bringing any type of potential item. Will also include city attorney's office to talk about public of freedom of speech and things like that.
Yeah.
I agree, but it needs to be on topic. Okay, so bar none, just A1 top class. And I want to thank our city manners and hospitality that were bestowed to the guests that visited our city. Additionally, I had the opportunity of attending Fleet Week. This is the first time it was here in the South Florida area. Generally, it is held in Fort Lauderdale. As I walked through the boat and I talked to some of the aircraft men, and one of them was a night flyer, and he said that, I said, all night? And he said, yeah. I said, you mean while we are asleep? He said, yeah. Me home. And so I just want to say again to our first responders here, thank you for making sure that we're able to wake up the next day and get in our cars and go to work for our safety. And it is nothing that we should take lightly. So it was bar none, par excellence. And so I was just really, really floored with the work that those young men and women are doing. I told the manager that God was good because I met a 4-star general while I was there. And I said to him, he said, well, what can I do for you? And I said, well, I'm glad you asked. I said, men and women who may not have choices right now could serve their country. And he said to me, police won't have to work so hard. So upcoming events on Meet Me Monday, May 13th. It will be both on Zoom, but we will not really entertain any questions on Zoom. You'll be more than welcome when we're dealing with the strategic planning. Your presence there is greatly appreciated. We will have refreshments. I would love for you to come and hear what I believe are some of the best strategic planners in the country. And this event is designed to teach the pros and cons and the process of creating an LLC. And it is sponsored. And then finally, my last comment is the Juneteenth Park-In and Party Experience. It will be held Saturday, June 15th. Juneteenth means to all of us. So we look forward to seeing you all there. You can go to Eventbrite and register. You can look for. We have a lot of people who will be there. I'm excited and I look forward to seeing you there. Thank you.
First of all, let's say Happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers. Value those mothers. Let's value those. Let's just value each other, because this past 2 weeks, from pastors to mothers to sons, this is not my ghetto. This is my city. And I love this city. And we are working hard to improve the lives of the residents of this city. If it requires us to put legislation together to stop certain things, we will do it. We won't violate anybody's rights, but we will do it because we believe in the seal that's shown here in the middle of this floor. We believe in you, the residents of this city. And no matter what the situation may be, do not degrade Miami Gardens. Yes, there's ways you can do it. You can go around and talk about issues that you need to talk about. We're going to allow you to come to this podium and speak because you have that right. But to bash the city in the process of doing so, shame on you. Enjoy your mothers, enjoy each other, and may God bless y'all. I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Moved and seconded, show this meeting adjourned.